Did you allow the story to write itself in some sense? I realize this is about Ina May and Stephen and the farm and all of that, but did you go in with one idea of how you wanted the film to be and then it kind of told you another story?
We worked with what we had, you know, and we knew we had all these incredible births. We knew they were so dramatic. We knew they were so beautiful. So we didn't know at the outset that we were going to have that, and that would really be sort of what the film, the arc that the film was sort of hung around, were these births that, you know, were stops along the way or the journey. And so that definitely was something that sort of, you know, revealed itself. I think once we had a general sense of what the narrative was, I remember we like sat down and wrote like, okay, this is like basically what the story could be, and it wound up being like pretty close to what that was. And I think that's partially because it's historical,
right?
You know,
it's like a biography in some ways, you know.
Once you know the gist of what it is, you know, once you've heard the stories, you kind of have a sense of what it's going to be. But we weren't able to include everything historically because we didn't necessarily have it covered very well, or when we tried to ask the participants, you know, we didn't get it. Their answers didn't flow together very, you know, I mean, there are like a million reasons why you can't necessarily include something that you may even want to if you can't get it.
Well, if Ina May wouldn't talk about it too, you couldn't have, you know, some sort of other character talking about something that was very important. It just felt bizarre, you know?
Right.
But it was, you know, the historical part is chronological. And then, so we knew that, you know, we could rely on that. And then, like I said before, adding in the present day verite stuff, and then the births. And it was sort of like this, how to weave all of that together. But we knew we wanted to make a portrait of Ina May Gaskin and of the farm midwives and, you know, the farm in some ways, you know, where they lived in this community that they've been a part of for 40 years. So I think we really set out to make a portrait. And then we came upon this archival footage, which was just like this treasure trove we had no idea existed when we began, so.
And how did you know when to add what you added? Just at certain points of when someone would speak about something in the past, then you reflected back to the archival footage that you had and knew that it was good to, I mean, you did a beautiful job of weaving it in. And I was just wondering, what was your decision process?
Well, I think, Kate Amend is such a great editor, and she has she's done a lot of historical work as well, so she has just like an incredible instinct for that kind of particular work. But also, like, I remember one of the early issues that came up in the edit room was the film was like, you were already 45 minutes in before you saw a birth. We were like, oh, we need a birth, like end of Act 1, you gotta have a birth, you know? And so we shifted a birth and stuck it in where chronologically it wouldn't have quite happened yet at the farm, you know, and that's that first birth that Pamela has. But it sort of made sense in the way that the film was traveling. And then like, you know, some time went by in the edit room, and then we were like, we need another birth. We need to see a birth at the beginning.
Right away.
Yeah, like right away.
And I remember, or Johan also said that, remember?
Yeah,
and like,
Gina Quantu.
Yeah, and then we were like, okay. And we just threw it in there, and it never left.
So like the film opens and there's a birth like 5 seconds in if you've never seen a birth before. That mystery or that like sense that you have to like wait because what's gonna happen and I'm a little scared, like that's taken right off the table right away. There's like, it's done. Get used to it because there's a lot more coming, you know? But it's funny how that like, you know, was a process of like trying to get those, you know, put them in the right spots.
Right. I think it was at your Q&A or before the LA Film Festival premiere. I think one of you said, "Have you ever seen a birth before?" Well, you know, now you will. Like,
yeah.
You know, get over it if you're scared or something.